Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Cedarville Stories Podcast. I'm Mark Weinstein, and with the start of a new academic year beginning today, I thought it'd be nice to meet a pair of incoming freshman students in Ari and Julie Tompkins, twins from Northeast Ohio. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go to my conversation with Ari and Julie Tompkins on this week's Cedarville Stories Podcast. So it's so great to have you on the podcast. And I think this might be the first time I've ever had twins. So for those who are watching, if you're looking at the screen, the one on the left wearing white is Ari, and the one on the right is Julie. So for those listening to the podcast, good luck. But I think we're going to have a great podcast today. So for today's podcast, I really want to dive into, because you are first-time college students who today is the first day of classes. And so we're glad you're here on campus. We're glad you're a Cedarville Yellow Jacket. But in high school, you both competed on the same track and field team, basketball and cross-country teams, and you did very well. You competed at state championships. What did you learn from all that competition, regardless of sport and really regardless of how far you went? What did you learn? What did athletics teach you as high school students?
I think that they definitely taught us how to work hard, what hard work means. Anybody can do anything. It's just really about how much you put your mind to it. So I think that overall it taught us about sportsmanship and hard work. And I think that it also taught us a lot how prayer can go a long way in your sports if you bring it with you.
So you compete in track and field, basketball, cross country. So what sport or sports are your best? And is it the same for both of you?
For me, basketball is always my favorite, but my argument was always that basketball was my fun sport because it's not nearly as hard as track. But track was my good sport because I could always show up on the track and do good. But track's also more of an individual sport, where basketball, you have to rely on your team.
Right. So was it you, Ari, that didn't want to get into track and field, but your dad made you get into it?
That was me. Julie.
That was Julie. Okay. Aren't you glad you got into track and field and cross country?
I am. I'm very glad.
So as high school athletes, not just sisters, but now athletes, you've both been called the ultimate competitors. Where does your drive for athletic excellence come from? How did you learn that? How did you instill that? How does that happen?
Well, we grew up in a family of people that we had to do sports. It was none, our family does sports. If we have to do something every season because we don't want to just sit around.
Yeah. And
our dad was a really good wrestler. So we got it from him to always strive to be your best and don't do something if you're not going to be the best at it. And we've just always wanted that. And growing up, we've been put head to head in everything. So we're so competitive in everything now that she's my biggest competitor and I'm hers.
I know you went to state championships in track and field. Were there other sports where you made it to the state championship level?
Yeah, we made it in both basketball and cross country.
All years in high school, or how often?
We each made it to track and cross country 3 years.
Okay.
We only did cross country for 3 years because we golfed our freshman year. And then for track and field, we were each out for a season because of an injury. So we were only in it for 3 years. And then basketball, we just made it for our first time ever in our school history, our senior year.
Okay. And how far did you go at the state level for basketball?
We made it to the Final Four.
Final Four, and you lost in the semifinals?
Yes.
Okay, so track and field, you guys made it to the States in the 1,600 meter relay. Tell us about that event and the emotions before and after your state runner-up effort.
So we made it for that pretty much every year that both of us ran. that same relay. We made it for other ones too, but that same relay was like the one relay where we were all four of us were together. But for our freshman year, she was out, and my sophomore year, I was out. So they were
Yeah.
with different people.
Okay.
So our junior year was like our first year like to be like shine because we were finally together and we got to run together.
Yeah.
And we called it like our dream team because it was me and Julie and then our cousin was on the team.
Oh, fun.
And then another runner. And then we said all year that we were gonna win. And then we actually lost by like 0.01 seconds our junior year, like a photo finish. But it was okay because we were just happy to have done that because the year before that we didn't even make it on the podium.
Speak to the excitement leading up to the race, if you can recall that, and then compare that to the letdown of just falling short.
Before the race, we were like, oh, we're gonna win this. We know we've got this. We were excited. We were nervous, but we were nervous because we knew that we could win this, but it was obviously not going to be easy. So we were hyped. We did our little prayer circle. We got ready. And they walk you down the track in front of everybody, and we could hear everybody screaming. And then right before I left, because I start the relay, right before I left the three of them to go get ready, we all pretty much just said we knew we could do it. Let's do this. And then we got on the line, and it was great. I came in first place. I handed off. Everything was ready. And then coming up for the fourth leg and losing by that much, it kind of shattered all of us. All four of us cried. We got on the podium and, we should have been ecstatic. We were on the podium, second place at the state tournament. But we had such high hopes all season long that we were going to win this year that it did not happen that way.
Yeah.
And it kind of crushed our souls. But then I guess, this year, obviously, that was our junior year. This year was completely different because Ari and I were the only two that were the same because our cousin and our friend had graduated. So this year was a lot different from last year.
And how did you guys make it? You didn't make it a state in your senior year then?
We did.
And how did you do?
We got runner-up again. We got second. But this year was a lot different because me and Julie had hoped all season long because everyone kept telling us we wouldn't do it again. We didn't have that same team. We had two runners that don't run the 400. We were told that it was impossible. We needed to set our goals where we knew we could get, but we just kept saying we were going to get second again or we were going to try for first.
Right.
But nobody believed in us, but we just kept saying it and we kept telling our teammates we're going to do it. And then we got regionals. We actually got third, which was insane because we've never really done that. So we were kind of nervous. I think going from regionals was a big thing where we left. And instead of being happy, I made it to state in 3 events. 3 events. She made it in three events. And it was our other teammates, they made it in a couple. And instead of leaving being all happy, we left oh my gosh, next week we're running at the state tournament and we set our goal pretty high and it's not going to happen. We left with that mindset. But I think that we shaped that up and we were we know we can do better than that. We know that we're better. And when we got down to the state tournament on prelims day, we finished 4th in prelims. So that was a big letdown, of, we can't even win prelims. How are we going to win finals? And when we got ready for the day on finals day, we kind of just all hyped each other up. We were really nervous. I think Ari and I were a little more nervous than the other two because they didn't they cared. But at the end of the day, they're only a sophomore and a freshman. So they were they have more years of this. And we were kind of we've been telling people all year long not to count us out.
Yeah.
And I think that going into it, we both beforehand, all of the teams got together and we prayed. And then we did our own prayer away from them because just to kind of calm our own nerves.
Sure.
And I think that Ari and I actually pulled ourselves away from our two teammates. And we talked and we were we have to do this. We need to carry our teammates and help them out. And then that's what we ended up doing. And again, I came in first and handed off. And I was oh, yes, we got ourselves in a nice position. And throughout that, Ari came in and finished us. And our other teammates did good. Ari had to hold her own against a couple other girls, the team that placed second, third, that made us fourth in prelims. We had to battle out against them. But I think that this year was different because the leading up to it and the afterwards was we were ecstatic, jumping up and down. We all ran and gave each other a hug. And we were so happy. And then compared to last year, we were crying. So it was a big difference, but it was definitely an amazing experience.
So in life, and you may not have experienced enough life to understand this, but in life, I think our greatest lessons are learned when we struggle or face opposition or maybe even defeat, like you guys really did at the track. What lessons did you learn from finishing second in the 1600 meter, whether it's the junior or senior year?
I think it really helped us realize, because sometimes we struggle with realizing that our sport doesn't define us, that like God doesn't care if we run or not. But sometimes I think it's really hard to like take those two and like split them. But I think getting second, we realized that even though we got second, God still saw us the same way. He would still be happy with our lives and everything, and he wouldn't care that we got second. So it really helped us like take a deep breath and realize that we weren't like failures because we got second.
Yeah.
And then coming to our senior year, we were just really happy to be there again and just really proud of all the hard work that we all put in.
Yeah, that's wise. And I think he only cares about whether we run the race for him and give it our all for him. So let's transition in that point to your spiritual faith, your faith in Jesus. Can you share with us, both of you, your journey to when you accepted Christ in your life since then?
We grew up always going to church, but when you're a kid, sometimes you struggle to sit there and listen. You don't want to be there. You just don't really understand. You'd rather be playing.
Right.
But we kept going, and then, we'd always get pulled aside so we could go play games in the nursery or something. But then I think our major point was my dad quit drinking. And when he quit drinking, he like every single night pulled us aside and we read a chapter of the Bible every night.
Nice.
And then we were finally old enough to understand what we were reading. It wasn't just like gibberish that we didn't understand, but we understood it. And our dad was like there to explain it to us. And it was like to help him with his faith too, because he quit drinking. I think that it was something to do with the fact that our dad was trying to regain his faith in God and try to re-find himself through it. So while he was doing that, we decided we needed to do that step with him. And going in and realizing that our dad had, done that and that we needed to find ourselves our own way in God, we kind of used our dad's regaining his strength with God and using that to help us do it. Yeah. And I think that after that, like a lot of things happened, a lot of things changed for the better. And I think that we realized like there's a lot of things God can do and like shine light on us if you just open up yourself a little bit to him every day.
Yeah. So how old were you when you truly met Jesus?
I want to say 13 or 14 maybe.
Okay.
I mean, we've been we believed. We just didn't put in the work to understand what we believed. Right. We were just told to believe. Yeah. But we finally did when we were 14. And then after our dad and us read for a while, and then he kind of got busy and he still would read, but we didn't have time to always do it together. Yeah. We found a good youth group that we enjoyed going to. And we couldn't always go to church on Sundays because we had track on Sunday mornings. But we'd go every Wednesday, and we enjoyed going on Wednesdays. And then throughout the week, we'd read a chapter by ourselves.
Yeah, I'm curious. Some people have what they call life verses, a verse that means something special to them. Do you guys have a favorite Bible verse or maybe a favorite Bible story?
I actually have a tattoo of this verse, but it's Philippians 4:13, because I think it really helps for the mindset and running. I always just am thinking of that verse to help me through the nerves and everything. Yeah. So that's always been my favorite verse.
Do you have one, Julie, or not really?
I've always just kind of used that same verse.
Okay. Yeah. So let's transition in this podcast to talking about your college search process, because I found that to be fascinating. I read a story in one of your local newspapers about you guys. So As you were searching for a college to attend, was it important for you to pick the same college, or were you guys willing to go in different directions?
We were originally willing to go in different directions, but we have literally done everything together for our entire lives. So it was like thinking of that was like, oh, I'm gonna go here and you're gonna go there, but like we've never not shared everything. So like leaving our entire our lives here and then leaving each other just kind of seemed like that's not gonna work for us. And also with like the running, it's always been no matter what, like even if there's another person on the track, it was always us against each other.
Right.
So if we went to different colleges, we might still go against each other every once in a while, but it would be like a missing piece of us. So we kind of like finalized that we were going to definitely go together. And then we ended up picking Cedarville.
So what stood out about Cedarville among the other colleges that you were looking at? What made it seal the deal? Like Cedarville is where we should go.
When we went on our first visit there with Coach Kittle, the track coach, we really liked him. Like he stood out to us when we first met him. We were like, we could see him coaching us for 4 years. And then we went on our visit there and we both really enjoyed the chapel part. Like when we went there, and then everybody was really nice. The team that we met, they were nice. And just students around, they all looked nice and treated us nicely. And then I was like, I guess I could see myself here for 4 years. But we were still kind of iffy after our first one. We weren't sure.
Okay.
Because we had another school that we really liked. But then we went on a second visit where we went to practice with the team. And we went, like, we ate with them and everything. And then we realized, like, while we were there, that it just kind of felt homey. Like, we could be there for 4 years and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then as like time went on and we kept thinking, it just like kept popping up that like maybe that's where we wanted to be. And it would help us because we're not really surrounded by people that believe in God because we go to a public school.
Okay.
So it was always like we would go to this public school, and we were trying to walk in our faith and we were always the two, like, everybody, let's pray. Even though they might have not all been religious, we'd always be like, everybody pray, even if you don't want to. Yeah. And, we do that before basketball games, before track games, at school. And it was always like us bringing people towards God and never like anybody pushing us to. We were kind of push other people to. And I feel like when we were finalizing our search process and we narrowed it down to 3 schools, we thought like it would be kind of nice to go to a school where everybody was like us. Everybody wanted to follow in the Lord. And instead of always having to be us not making people, but trying to get them to walk in faith. Sure. And like the school not being able to do anything because it's public.
Yeah. So as Cedarville students / athletes, what sports are you going to compete in? Are you going to compete just in track and field, or are you going to pick other ones as well?
For now, track and field. I was thinking of basketball for a while. I haven't said I might in the future. But at least for our freshman year, it'll just be track and field. But we might look at some club-wise, just in our free time.
So now that you're on campus, you probably haven't been yet in the Career Services Department. That's located in the Stevens Student Center. But I know that department will get to know you quickly because what they try to do right in your first semester, they try to help you prepare for your career 4 years later, which seems crazy to think that you're on campus day one and they're already trying to think what you're going to do after you graduate, but that's what they do. Have you given it much thought to what you want to do after you graduate?
Yes.
They're twins. They talk the same time.
I want to be a physical therapist. But I want to be a pro sports physical therapist. So in one of the pro sports, whether that's the NFL, NBA, any of them, tennis, hockey, I just want to be in that field. So I've been thinking about which PT school I want to go to and which teams I want to reach out to. And I also we know a lot of people in those fields, in the pro sports teams. And I know they always say it's all about who you know.
Right.
So I just been kind of thinking of that route. So that's definitely what I'll be looking forward to.
So before you answer, Ari, so what academic major are you going to pursue, Julie?
Exercise science.
Exercise science. It's a great choice. Boy, we have great faculty in that area. How about you, Ari?
Mine's a little different because there isn't really a major for it, but
Different?
I plan to be
You guys aren't even going in the same major?
No.
Okay. What are you going to go?
I want to be a firefighter and EMT.
Wow.
So I do plan on taking the EMT class that Cedarville offers. I was just told it's better not to take it as a freshman because it's a lot.
Okay.
So I'm going to wait for my sophomore year to take it.
Okay.
But I am majoring in criminal justice.
So you have great faculty to learn from. So I'm intrigued by your interest in being a firefighter, EMT. Why? What's happened in your life that makes you want to do that? Or how do you feel like you're gifted in that regard?
I feel as if I was like obviously put here to help people, but I just don't think I could go to school for 8 years to be a doctor or anything like that. I don't think I'd want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And just like I went on a firefighter like sit-in where I rode with them and like was with them all day long to see what they did. And like I was sitting there and I realized that I would do it for free. Like I would go and do that just on my free time. And I was like, if I could get paid to do this, it'd be fun because I actually enjoyed being there. And then I just always feel like I want to help people in a way that not everyone does. And I just think that I'm prepared to go into that field.
So a thought just came into my mind about, okay, so PT, sports teams, firefighter, EMT. It's likely you guys might not be in the same town. How are you going to deal with being separated in 4 years? Have you given that any thought?
We have given that thought. I don't know. We kind of thought about like whatever PT school I chose, that she would just follow and go be a firefighter, EMT in that route. But in the end, like my dad's always saying that we got to grow up and get away from each other. So if in 4 years I have to go my separate way and she's got to go her separate way, we just have to make it work.
And even if you go your separate way, you'll always be twin sisters and you'll always love each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we move closer to the end of the program, I know you guys have been teammates for life. You've shared same events, same memories, same athletic teams. But now you're ramping that up a little bit and you're going to be on the same collegiate team. Will that be any different than what you experienced at Mogadore High School? Or maybe because of the environment, it might be a little different?
I think it will be different, but maybe in a good way.
Okay.
We'll still be close, but maybe we won't be together all the time. So like, I feel like it'll help us like, maybe I'll make some friends over here and she'll make friends over there. And then like, we're still friends and like her friends will probably become my friends and my friends hers.
Right.
But it'll be a little bit more separated. Whereas at Mogadore, like we had our own friends, but a lot of them were like both of our friends and we always did everything together. So running wise, like we were always really together, except Julie runs the 200 and I don't usually. I run the 800 a lot sometimes. So that might make it different because I'm not sure if I'll be running like the 4 and 8 at Cedarville or what I'll be running. And she might run like the 4 and 2 or maybe the 4 and 8. But if he puts us both at like the 4 and 8, then I think it'll be the same because we'll both train together and do everything together.
You're right.
But I think it'll still be very similar.
Okay.
I think it'll be similar, but I think it'll be a step up because obviously everybody that's running at the collegiate level wants to be there because otherwise, why would you be there? And I think track's a very hard sport. So nobody's saying, I think I'd like to go run for 4 more years. Nobody's saying that unless they actually enjoy it. So I think it'll be a step up of having to be at high school and constantly pushing your teammates to do good because their well-being is what your well-being is for the team to do well.
Yeah.
I think that at college, everybody wants to do well or you wouldn't be there. And especially like everybody wants to push themselves and keep on working. So I think that'll be a major step of there's going to be other people that love the sport just as much as we do.
I want to stay down the sports line in a minute, but let me ask this question before I forget. So you mentioned about, like you may be training in one area and Julie another area, so you may have different friends, which is great. Are you planning on rooming together, or are you going to start there and branch out and build new friends?
We originally planned on not rooming together because we just thought like you get a built-in friend with like your roommate, and then that would just become like the person you're close with. Well, you hope that's how it would end up. But
Lord willing, yes.
then we were thinking about it, and we actually like I found somebody that I thought I'd room with online. And then we were thinking about it, and then we just thought maybe the first year would be easier if we roomed together. Because, I mean, like, we got one mini fridge for Christmas, and we got one of this and one of that. So, like, separating those would be hard, too. So we thought the first year if we roomed together, and then maybe our sophomore year we don't.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's wise. So back to the athletic side. Curious, Cedarville has become known for having a strong track and field team, a nationally competitive, national championships. Did that sway your decision in coming to Cedarville?
Yes. We looked at all the schools that we were looking at, and once we got down to our top three, Cedarville was obviously on there. We kind of pulled up their different teams, and we looked at all of like not just track and field, their other sports, and how they are throughout all of their athletics and how they treat their athletes. And we talked to people at Cedarville, people away from the coach. Hey, how does the coach here? Is it actually good? Would you have chosen different? And I think in the end, like Cedarville was the most one that like just stood out way more than the other schools of like not even just the coaches walking through it with them and helping them, but also just like the excellence that they have in their sports. I think that would be a great fit for us too, because we obviously want to be a part of that, and we want to go on and do bigger, greater things. And I think that that'll definitely help us. Yeah,
and one of your coaches, Coach Bolander, he trains a Paralympic gold medalist. I don't know if you knew that, and Grace Norman, who's a Cedarville alum, and so all the coaches are great, and you're going to really benefit from them. So as twins, I can't answer this because I'm not a twin, but what would you say what is the greatest advantage of being a twin, and maybe the greatest challenge?
I would say the greatest thing is, even though like if we get mad at each other or anything, we're always like, if I get mad at her 5 minutes later, it's like forgotten. It's not even there because we're just like built-in best friends. And I feel like we'll always have each other, even if we're not together. We're always like, oh my gosh, I got to go home and tell Julie right away. Or she'll just text me and say, oh my gosh, I got to tell you something. But then I think the worst part is sometimes people group us as one person, and we hate that because we're not one person. We're like completely different in ways. And like people will just be like, oh, well, they like this and they do this. And I'm like, it's not that way. So that part really is not great because people just group us as one.
So what's one thing that you like that Julie doesn't like?
I like scary movies.
And she doesn't?
No.
So you'd agree with our assessment, right, Julie?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that maybe you like that she doesn't like?
Oh, I was a cheerleader for 13 years. She strongly dislikes anything to do with cheerleading. So that was a big one, that was a big difference for us. And everybody would be like, well, Julie's the cheerleader.
So as we close today's program, from an academic perspective, from a spiritual perspective, even athletic perspective, what are some of your goals for this year and beyond?
Academically wise is to just succeed in all of our classes and get used to the new schedule, like college schedule, which we did do CCP, which kind of helps us a little prepare us for what's coming. But I think we just want to get A's or get good grades at least up there, and then spiritually just grow more with God and just understand more, even though like we understand it, but you can always like reread and learn more every time you read it.
Right. And
just having other people that understand it too are surrounded. So if you don't understand something, there's always someone to ask.
Right.
Which will be nice because around us, there really isn't that many people to ask. And then sports wise, obviously just continue to get better and being surrounded spiritually wise with other people with God will also help, because then you just know you're not alone.
Right. How about you, Julie?
My goals are straight A's for my classes. I know that'll be hard, but I've always been a pretty good. I like to study. I like to do my work. I look forward to school. So I think that's a big difference between the two of us. But I look forward to school.
You're more academic nature?
Yeah, she's a procrastinator.
Oh, Ari. You didn't tell me that earlier.
I didn't think of it, but yeah, that's like a big difference. I'm always like, I write lists, I make schedules, I'm very like A, and she's like go with the flow. She doesn't really care what we're doing kind of deal. So yeah, but my goal would definitely be like straight A's, if worst case B's, no C's. I don't want any C's, but to do well and to like obviously like always stay on class. I don't want to miss any classes unless it's for a sport. So that'll be a goal of mine. Also a goal for my for like following in my steps with God is just to get closer. Out of the two of us, Ari's always been closer with him. She just understands it more and like dives right into it. I think Cedarville is going to help me a lot with that, of just like diving in and learning more and loving what I'm reading. So that's definitely a goal. A goal for a track is I'd love to go to nationals. I'd love to help the team compete there, hopefully in a 4x4. I'd hope to compete there eventually individually, whether that's the 8 or the 4. So I just like overall, I'd hope to help strengthen their girls team a little more.
That's great. Those are great goals. And I really believe those goals are achievable here at Cedarville for you guys. I think you're going to both love attending chapel every day. It's we say this often, that chapel is the heartbeat of campus. It's where we all come together at one time during the day, 5 days a week. And I think you're really going to love that. And as a result, grow in your faith. So it's great to have you on campus. Congratulations on starting classes today. And I just wish you the best. I look forward to seeing you on campus. And for today, thanks for joining me this week on the Cedarville Stories Podcast. It was great to have you on the program. Thank you for listening to the Cedarville Stories Podcast, brought to you by Cedarville University. Be sure to come back next week when we'll share another Cedarville story for God's glory.